don't know if you guys can see it. You guys see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Again. Yes.
All right, well, let's
Yes,
swipe
Shorty, yes.
so you guys can see this. And then we'll start with the beginning, right? So the first thing, you can start weekly, monthly, whatever your preference is. I usually like to see the picture. Where have we been recently? And then what's going on, right? So if we look, from the top, we had, of course, a little bit of consolidation, like 10 days balance. We broke that balance. And they had another mini balance. If you guys recall, we were watching the 5-day balance here. Then they dumped through that balance. And then mini balances here. And this is called imbalance right here, right? As we are creating imbalances, right, what do you notice about the shapes? The last one here was a lowercase b, which indicated a downtrend start because they trapped the longs up here on the top, right? And you see they were not even able to create much space on the value area high above here, from the latest one, the highest consolidation, they're not able to. They broke this one here, but this huge engulfing, right? A lot of, I would call this basically a wide range candle. They were not able to break the value area high from that, literally indicating, hey, we're done matching this POC node here. So it was troubling for them. And then they broke down, and then you see the P shapes. And from every P shape, what do you see? They're selling off, meaning they accumulate, they sell off, accumulate, sell off, accumulate. Now, tomorrow or tonight, what is the most important level to hold?
The PD value area low.
But they better hold the POC tomorrow.
Oh, the POC, yeah.
They don't hold the POC. I will take a bet here with Cuban. They fail this right here. We're going lower.
Yeah.
So this is your pivot pretty much for tomorrow. Yes, of course, everybody's watching the PDL, right? Everybody's going to be their eyes on this level here, 43.50. And you guys know the 43.50 is very, very important. Does anyone recall why? We'll get to it.
July.
That used to be this old
It's a
CPOP.
June value area low.
Oh, yeah, that too.
So the June value area low, as we expected, you guys know that I said, hey, I went long right out of the gate. I had 10 orders sitting at 43.50. And ever since then, I mean, it just hit and it took off. And remember, where do we find institutional buyers? Like the big boys, where do they sit? At major, major levels, guys. They don't play. The big boys don't expose their cash on daily sessions. They need to find value, right? I mean, and you think about this. Is there any value for different time frame buyers after a 300 points drop? I would say most
No.
likely yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But 300 points is a decent drop for somebody that has a different vision. Let's say a pension fund that's, just collecting. They don't care where they buy. Do you really think when you give your money to a, let's say, the other day, me and my wife went to eat at this pretty good restaurant in Atlanta. And as I'm waiting outside for her to come out, I'm hearing a guy presenting to another couple their investment opportunities. And he told them, I'm literally listening there, like if you put $1 million, we can guarantee that you can get 6%. And I almost went to the guy. I almost want to tell him just walk away. Why would I tell him walk away at 6%, $1 million?
It's not much.
What's the inflation rate? I mean, let's call it real inflation rate about now. Is it more than 6?
Yeah.
So you're giving me 6% and inflation is going to eat that cash for breakfast. And yet, on average, S&P gives you about 8 to 10%, but you're going to give me 6. And then he goes, yeah, and then there's performance fee, and then there's management fee. And of course, these poor people are like, okay. And I'm like, okay, like I don't want to get mixed in, golly. And that's the idea, right? When they're using your money, right, to buy, do you really think where they care where they're buying? No, they just pull the money and then they just basically buy. That's why the companies way back, if you're still an employee, right? You had the W-2s and the companies used to have pensions. How many of you right now that work have a pension at your work? Probably none. You know why? Oh, it's your responsibility to manage your wealth now. So they came up with something called 401k, and you guys are responsible for it. So most 401ks, when they put you in the targeted funds like 2050s and 2070s, 2040s, right? Do you really think every week when you're check or whenever you're paid, they care where they buy that? You think they check the market and they're like, yeah, this is too high. We're gonna wait for it to buy back. Your funds get deducted, goes to the pension fund, and they're like, whoop, buy. And that's, how some of these guys, but the ones that manage, right, the portfolios, right, where you have portfolio managers, they wait and they wait for the extremes. They wait for value area highs, value area lows of monthlies, quarterlies, bi-yearlies, right? Those are the levels of importance, right? And when you think about that for a moment, right? So if you go under indicators, I'm just doing this, some of you guys might be new here. If you click on strategies, in profile, and then you click periodic volume profile, and you enable that, right? And then you click on the settings right here. If you go here, there's a little gear button. Click here, and it says bar. I'm gonna change that to monthly, 1 month. Give me the profile. I'm just not gonna use this one because I like the one I have. So I'm gonna go here, 1 month, change it, and here's my monthly profile. So now instead of the daily profiles, right, I'm seeing monthly profiles. And this is usually where the big boys show up, right? So here's the big boys. And where did they bounce? Right at the bottom of it. Where can they go?
To the top.
The first target is always the POC.
Yep.
So we know there's June POCs here, and I mark it. We know there's June value area lows here, and I mark it. When I mark these levels, if you're new, I don't mark them fucking give my chart a bunch of levels. I mark it so I know where the next targets are, right? And I think we covered this in one of the watch lists. I also tweeted it for people not in the Discord. What did I say if this breaks? Does anyone recall? If the June value area high was broken, what did I say? I can find the tweet real quick.
Go to the opposite extreme.
Yeah, we're gonna go to 43.50. We're gonna have a small stop at 44.20, which we did. And then most likely you're gonna go here. If you fail this, a lot of experts are gonna be looking for this gap fill here. Do you know how important this gap fill is in terms of technicals?
They're going to defend that.
Not at all. Why is
No?
this one not important?
It's a contract.
This is a contract. So
Oh, okay.
right? There's a chance they'll fill it, but this is not your target. This is people target right here. Once it gets filled, you can create liquidity for them, right? And think about it. Some of the shit's planned way in advance before you guys put a trade on. It's irrelevant. Sure, is it a gap fill? Is the retail gonna hop in and say, defend this? Yeah, and buy it. But it could also mean that they're providing liquidity, buy side liquidity to the bigger sell side people, right? And we even talked about the pattern being generated here, if you guys recall. Didn't we say that something like this could happen here? Like you get a bounce. You guys recall this? There's a potential they're going to do this. And ideally, they bounce it to this POC, which is 44.20. If they reclaim this June POC, then we know there's this picture right here, which is 44.62. And this is a developing month, but I don't think we're going to get there just in a day. And it could be that we gain 100 points on ES, but this is your developing value area low. Only if I can type. Okay. So this level will be important. Why? Because it might dictate if we're going to finish the monthly in balance or out of balance. If we finish the monthly out of the balance, what would that indicate?
Looking for new value.
Prices in discovery mode.
Prices in discovery mode, but you're in the June value area, right? That would mean you're happy here. So what you could have for the next couple of months is this till they decide that, oh, we don't like this value. Oh. And if you think this value here is wide, think about this. Do you really think they're going to spend a lot of time here? the value area here, I mean, you look at 3 months, it's tight. We're not gonna spend a lot of time here. Either we're gonna hold 4140, or if we flush through it, I'm telling you, the amount of selling that incurs below 4140, you'll be amazed. If they defend it, you're gonna get a bounce that's, you know, a couple of 100 points. And don't be shocked if this level defends, that we can potentially target the previous highs here if they defend it. If you see an aggressive buying at the level, this becomes a target from 4140s. I'm talking bigger picture, right? This is not that happens in a day or two. I'm telling you, bigger picture. They got to defend 4140. And how do we get the 4140? Any way you want, you're going to get 4140. It doesn't matter where you grab. This is going to be the level. 4140 is going to be the key level. We know the value area of the sell-off, right? Even here, this level here is going to be fairly important, right? To fill in, because that was our previous rejection. It's also a value area high of this fall here from, I guess, December to here. Not extended. So now watch this. They came here, they tried to build value of the sell-off. And look at this now, the value area low of this sell-off initial, if you guys remember the all-time highs to these, call it June or October lows, because we made a lower low, we could include that. Now look, you're targeting, you know, value area low here is at 39.15, right? So this level is what? You lose 41.44, where do you go?
39.15.
Value area low.
You have a super strong chance to go here, guys. I mean, it's almost like 99% odds that you're gonna visit this if you don't defend this level. Then you have the value area high, and just take a look where we, you know, where we reject it. And this looks amazing on SPY. If you want to chart SPY the same way and kind of practice, look where we defended here. They spent no time telling them, get out of here. There's no value here. So now, right, is there a potential for a bounce here? Oh yeah, there's potential here, June value area low, that they can bounce it. I think we spent some more time before we honestly, we're headed here. You see this volume node here. If I just extend this a little bit so you guys can see it, it might look like a tiny little volume node, but let's see. You guys see this
Wow.
node here?
Yeah.
This is not a tiny node. Neither is this one here, nor is this. So you lose this 4140. This is gonna be, you know, one of those candles. Now you see me, now you don't. Like it happens quick. So this is a bigger time frame picture. So now when you step back and you're like, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, monthly out of balance so far. If they want to reclaim it, they got to reclaim this 44.61. But before that, they got to hop over 44.20. So if we hop over 44.20, these 40 points become very quick, because if you look at the profile here, is there much stop in it? Not at all. And then if you look at the selling points, right, from here to here, is there much stop in it once you reclaim 44.20? Look, not much at all.
Mhm.
So if you're able to reclaim this and hold, and then if you just look at the sell-off points, where's your go long level? Just on the profile basis here.
Um, 44.25.
43.97.
June POC? Oh,
Well, I mean, if you're gonna wait that, how many are you gonna wait that far for 44.20? Get out of here. None of you guys are patient enough.
Oh
to
yeah,
do that.
no, no.
yeah.
What is a 43.94 and a half? I covered this live on Friday.
Start of the single print.
Single print start at 43.94. If we break 43.94, remember, we go to 4.4, like this level right here. You guys recall when I was live, I said you break 94, most likely you're gonna fly to 05s. And guess what? They tapped that level, right? They broke, you know, they came in, they had a huge, when I went to the bathroom or pick up my kid, they had that huge spike, but they didn't really continue. So what does that tell you? There was some weakness on the buyers, right? I mean, they had a huge buying here, but look at this candle right here. They came in after, closed the hour, right? Bullish candle here, and then they slowly drove it. So most likely on tonight at 6, we open up with a spike, and I think we hit 4405 tonight, right out of the gate. So watch that if you're willing to trade. But this opens up the doors to 4420. You would have the 4405, and I'll put the level here so you guys have it, because I'll share the link with you guys. This is the level you're targeting from 97 and 05. And some of you guys might be like, man, that's 8 points. Well, if you never traded ES, 8 points is a lot of money.
Shorty, you said tonight they might just spike up. Why said you said up and not down? Looking
Because
at the
they're gonna
weakness.
defend this volume here. They're gonna defend this candle here. Wherever that candle was on volume, they're gonna defend this guy here. So they can dip it probably to like 78. From 78, they spike, and I think they hit 4405 because they want to trigger buying short cover rally. When you have a lot of selling pressure, right? And everybody's in puts. Nobody was buying puts at the top. They buy puts at the bottom. How do you screw them, right? Is by spiking and triggering algos to buy. And then you have people doing the short cover rally. Oh man, they broke my stop loss. And then on footprints, you see a bunch of zeros, right? It's like, oh shit, buy market, buy market, buy market, buy to cover. And they buy it up, and then eventually the algos trigger on certain levels. They start buying, like CTAs and institutionals. They start buying, I think, about 4420. This range here, 25 to 20, becomes really good for long zone. Okay. So we'll watch this. I'm just going to remove this for a moment so I can see the chart. And then I go on the weeklies, right? I'll look at the weeklies and I see what's going on. We'll switch this and then like, okay, well, let's zoom out. What is important on the weeklies here? Do you see why I say the zone is fairly important here, the 25-ish? Look at the zone here. What is your first instinct to do here?
Short.
This should be a good short, right? Especially if they do what?
Look above and fail.
Look above and fail is what we want. We want them to go above and then fail. And that's sometimes you don't even read a retest here, because if you're not able to hold a POC of such magnitude, most likely you go back here. Okay, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
shit. Pressed the wrong button. So that's our weeklies, right? I mean, I would say they're, interestingly enough, they closed right at the POC, and this I didn't mean to do that. No, they closed right here on ES, right? So it's important to see what they do. And this is a huge zone here. So if they're able to kind of, I still remember, you guys recall the 87 level at all? Anyone?
Yes.
It was a very important level, right? So if they can reclaim 87, there's a high chance that then they can execute that push, from the 96 single prints. And this is what it's telling you as well. Like if you look at this distribution, it looks pretty clean here, right? Even distribution. If you grab this, I'm just gonna make this color something else like this. If you break this, you're playing this high odds that you're gonna fill this 4420, guys. And what would this do to the puts? They would short, they would cover, and then what would they do here? What would the retail do as you arrive at 4420?
Retail or buy.
Go long.
Retail goes
Yeah,
long,
go
and
long.
then they're like, oh my God, I went short, I lost, I went long, and what happens? I lost. Right, because they're not playing with the market, they're playing against it. So you let them here, you can go along here if you'd like, but the preferable play is to go short. And they're giving them a perfect tiny little setup here for inverse headed shoulders right now, if you guys are paying attention to it. Right, this is ideal for all those people. Oh, go along. And those people that play these patterns and are disciplined enough, they, of course, they can make money on it, right? Because they have the levels defined and they'll take it. But if you're not disciplined and let's say you go along here and you're like, man, we're going all-time highs or whatever that case is, well, most of the time you're going to fail, right? And then they start adding to the positions right now, and that's where they hurt. And look at this. I mean, it does not get better than this for retail to hop in and drive this momentum short cover rally to help them up. It really does not. So I would definitely, can you make money from here to here? I would say everybody in this room should be able to, but also everybody in this room should not go long at 44.20 until we go above whatever the time frame you're on, full candle above. Preferably you want to see them test 37, fail, come back, and then go, right? I would say, the levels right out of my head. You can hide all this crap. It would be that 94.5, call it 95. You're able to break that. We're going to hit the 405. You break 405. The momentum comes in. We go to 44.15 to 20, right? Their level of 17 to 20 should ring a bell in everybody's head. If it doesn't, you should go back to the charts. So those levels immediately pop in my head. You pop over 44.20, then I know developing current value area low is around here. And then if you look at this profile, right, if we just draw this profile from here to here, look at this. I would be very cautious of this level here. Because from the sell-off point, where's the POC?
At the top.
Right at the top, right? So I would be, if they reclaim this, that means they're able to absorb those sellers, right? And when they're selling, they were selling in market sells, right? Most of the time, and that's what footprints showed. If they're selling market, somebody was buying limit, right? They're on the bid side. So if they're able to absorb those sellers, that you can get a spike to where? It would be the next liquidity zone, which is here. And that's how this works, guys. Then if you're able to get over here, you don't want to short here. You play the retest long. If it fails, how do I know it's not going to fail here if I go long on a retest? I don't. It's the probabilities you play. Nobody knows. You play the probability they're going to defend it and go to the next liquidity and so on, right? Because right now, your change of character, unfortunately, would be here, right? 43.96. The little spike gave you that. And then if you look at the skinny belly, look where it matches. Funny, right? It's right there. So if they're able to hop over this, man, it's going to be a quick move up, guys, and probably goes to this 406. This here gets filled immediately. These are single prints on market profile, and I would say they're skinny bellies on volume profile. They usually match. Okay, does that make sense? The plan so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're able to get out of this value area, let's say we get inside the developing value area, then it gets really, really congested. I mean, it gets super congested. Then you have, this value area, in this case, it's showing a little bit higher, but it's here on 4 hours or daily. Then you have, the value areas that you have to worry about from the months prior, right? All those value area lows are now going to be acting as what?
It's
Resistance.
It's going to be the resistance, right? Because if they're trying to knock on the doors of a value area from previous month, what are the sellers going to say? It's like, hey man, you're not welcome. We don't find you valuable here. So they're going to look for a rejection. Then if you look here, July value area high matched current, value area low for July. So then it kind of is like, okay, this level here, 44.93, if you're able to reclaim and pass this zone here, let's say, I would say somewhere around here. If you're able to get over this zone, what would I think? I think you reclaimed a major resistance to support level. And then structurally, look at this. It's almost like a what?
Head and shoulders.
It's a SR flip.
Yeah.
So that they lost it, they failed. And this is going to be a pivotal point for a bigger picture, sentiment, right? They go above it. Well, yeah, great. And then there's also a little gap that they had on top. And this is a real gap, right? This is a sell-off gap. And they will be able to go there potentially and visit some stuff because if they reclaim this, what would be the next level we target?
45.30.
45.40, correct? This level right here, 45.37, and
40.
then it will be this one here. So it opens up, and then you have some levels like 45.16 in between, but ultimately this is the level. And then you pay attention, see what they do here. They probably spike, finish the gap, and then whatever happens, right? I don't know, right? I'm not trying to predict. I'm just trying to put a plan. Any questions so far how I go from monthlies to weeklies, daily, and kind of I need a sentiment, right? I need to know where we are and what is it that others are doing. Because does it really matter what I'm doing?
No.
It doesn't fucking matter what we do. It matters what the majority does. And in terms of probabilities, that's the only thing that matters, right? What is this level? Why is this level important here?
It's a weak one.
Huh?
It's a weak one.
It's a weekly VPOC. This is a big level, guys. This is a huge level here. You guys should make sure you have it. Is there more? Hell yeah, there's more. There's a lot more.
Yeah.
Make sure you have these because every time you hit a weekly VPOC, it offered a bounce. And remember that 4,200 even is a big level because it's a value area, right? Value area high of the run up, I believe. And we can check. Let's just go from here to here. If I remember correctly. Okay, maybe not. Don't extend. So this one is right here at the VPOC at 42.94-ish. Would you expect buyers to defend this level?
Yes.
There are two reasons. What are the two reasons?
Value area high of run up.
And
Weekly VPOC.
weekly
It matters
VPOC. You don't need more to enter swings here. I think it would not make sense not to tap this soon. By end of this week. Am I bullish till we get a bounce this week first? Yeah. Think about the logic from the market makers. Hey, let's kill the puts. We pretend we go up and then what happens on Twitter? SR flip worked, guys. It was amazing, right? That's the message everybody will post. I don't think they're done with the fall. I think we make a higher high here, right? This 43.96. Because if you think about it, if we didn't have this 43.96, where's your next change of character? Somewhere around here. If you didn't get the spike, you
Yeah.
don't have anything there. So you gotta treat this, but honestly, change your character on a bigger picture is here. We know this POC will trigger a lot of liquidity to get us there. So for me, go up here and I'd look to short because I think there's a potential that we can go back and fill this area right here. And this would be the ideal spot to potentially catch some, swing longs unless we see the markets dying, right? And you see here, of course, the gap, there's nothing here, the bid's 0. So I think this is highly doable here. And then just make sure you find all of your weekly VPOCs here. There's a big level at 40.80. I thought there was one more here. Oh, there's that one. Yeah, there's 39.76.
There's one at 42.27.75.
42.27. I don't have that. Oh, this one here. 41.92 I have.
41.21.
I don't have that one. Anyone else? Or I don't have that one. I don't have that one.
I have it just on the SVP, not the
Oh.
PVP.
Yeah, okay. So this one, these are all weekly VPOCs here.
Yeah, on the weekly. Yeah, 41.92.
But guess what? Can you do this on the monthly? Of course you can. And sometimes they would match to what you have on your level. And you see here, what is this? 39.89. So 13 points difference. And this is what? March. So the March POC sitting there or VPOC. And then you have a level here. What is this? 36.94. Man, I know. There's no chance this gets filled, right?
Never know. There's a real, yeah, there's a chance.
And then you
Maybe
have
not now,
upper,
but
right? You have a VPOC here. What is this? This is June, January 22 VPOC.
One
These are-
bank failure, we'd hit it right away.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. I think it takes more. It seems like they're just absorbing banks. Okay, so now I have these major levels identified. Like I said, I look at the 30 minutes then, and I turn on the SVP, not change the language here or the ticker. And now I look at the smaller picture. Hey, what did we do? The value areas, are they accepting value at all, or are they searching new one? Are they
They've been searching for a while.
it's
They've been
searching.
searching for value, guys. I mean, look, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We still haven't gotten where it starts a little bit overlapping, right? It started here and you see how well that worked. Right, and now, you know, if they're able to clean that level, and everything's telling you that 43.94 is level is important. If you're able to reclaim this node here, this clean up the value area high of, you know, previous day here, which is 43.87, then it really opens up the door so we can kind of go higher, right? At least get a little push to 44.20. The value area low and the high here is at a wide range, 22 points, I believe. Not that, you know, not that tight, not that wide. So I would definitely kind of play it in between. If it's a chance that we are accepting the value, we open within the PD value area, then, you know, maybe we short the bottom, short the tops, short the tops, buy the bottoms, right? If they open in such way. Does that make sense? There's this, and then the POC being kind of stuck here. Okay, I think it's not a bad range. I mean, 22.5 points is, I would say, pretty decent, right? So if they drop it here tomorrow, this can be a really, really good trap, right? The only thing that you have to pay tomorrow is the initial balance, so they open the RTH, right? If they open within 1030, and let's say the initial balance low is here, I will be, you know, and they bounce from it, I'll be very careful shorting. Why is that?
Could be a spring.
Think
Get
about it.
shelf at the bottom.
If the initial balance is not indicating they want to go below the shelf here, most likely they're not going to go below the shelf. Initial buyers, usually the first hour buyer sellers, they indicate the sentiment for the rest of the day, right? You know, there's a difference between opening range, which is the 30 minutes, and initial balance, right? Opening range is really the sentiment of the 30 minutes, how the day could go. And the initial balance pretty much, you know, fortifies that and it sets the tone for the rest of the day. And usually if you go back and you find these initial balances, and I found this cool little tool that does it. I don't know if it can, maybe it can do this. I don't know. No, maybe not. I don't know. But if you look at the initial balances from the prior days, for instance, and see how many times, if you went long below the balance low, how did it work out for you? If you went, you know, short above the initial balance high, how did that work out for you? Usually, you know, in the market profile, volume profile world, that's not something that's advisable, right? If Peter was alive and you told him you shorted above IBH, he would laugh. Because the market's telling you we want to go higher and explore higher, and that you're shorting it. You're basically telling the market you're wrong. And does it matter what you do? Not really.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't really matter what you think and what your opinion is when the market generated information is telling you no. So it's important that we hold this tomorrow, right? If we are able to lose this shelf here, I think, you know, it really triggers the 43.51. You lose this 43.51, then we have opportunity, you know, to go down a little bit more, right? So you have that, you know, gap that we talked about. And I guess this is, you guys have this as a VPOC here. Yeah, I mean, I would call that a VPOC here at 42 something 96. And then there's a one, no longer a VPOC here. So yeah, there's definitely a VPOC. And then I would honestly grab this range here, and it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, right? Which matches the weekly VPOC, and this would be a decent zone. I'm gonna delete this gap here, but this would be the zone I'm interested in for a potential bounce. I know 4,300 is here, but why not trap the shorts below 4,300 and bounce it from 4,290? You guys don't think that would be doable? Could be really good. It'd be, everybody would be messed with. There you go. So these would be the key levels. I don't know if I marked the weeklies. Maybe I did not.
I went on weeklies and I have one VPOC at 42.88 and then one at 42.97. Do you have that? Well, on SVP, I have one at 42.97. And then when I went on weeklies, I have another one at 42.88.
Hold on one second. Let me just finish this real quick. and then-
Okay.
I'm gonna make this a little bit tighter for myself. Just you guys can keep it the same distance. I'm just grabbing 2 above, 2 below, and maybe I can grab more on downside, but this is how I see it. Okay, so any questions here? Fairly straightforward. I do think PD value area high being broken can trigger, the 94 triggers 05 breaks, we hit 44.20. On the downside, I would say if you're able to, auction here below that node that we just saw on the dailies, right? The little node here, if you're able to take this out, I think honestly, this is where the fall would most likely start. We can catch 10 points. Would I add to my short position here? Probably not, right? I would wait for them to kind of go auction, explore the price lower and see, is the delta picking up? Are we picking up on volume? And then kind of confirm, yeah, I want to short that or not. But most likely if you lose 43.51, there's a high chance that we're going to explore lower. But I am somewhat bullish if we can break 43.87 tomorrow or tonight. Okay. So any questions on this? Does it make sense, the process, how I look at it? But every
What's the-
time frame I look at here is framing down. Lower highs, lower lows, weekly, lower highs, lower lows, right? Lower highs, lower lows, and then monthly hasn't finished, but I don't need to tell you what's going on here, right? I mean, look at this, look at that. Is there a potential for a spike here next month? Yeah, and then look what happened prior months. We spiked and
Mhm.
CK, what was it?
So Shorty, with you said monthly time framing down. I mean, all are one time framing down at the moment.
Yep.
So with the bigger picture being OTFD, then in that case, for a longer term SPY put, what becomes our level of retest? I thought 4487, but I want to confirm.
4487 to longer puts, I would say this 4498 is for me.
4498.
This is my level for longer data puts. I mean, think about it. We came to January value area, right? So if you go here, but value perspective, right? Let's just go here for a moment. I'll turn off the daily. Just to draw, value perspective. If we defended this right here, what is most likely to happen? Most likely we're just gonna accept the value. And if we reclaim 44.20, most likely we're gonna go here. And who would show up here?
Sellers.
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 So I would join them right here. I would join them, 506 to this area, right? On the bigger picture, 8 points is
Mhm.
it's minimal. I don't even care for it. If I'm buying, let's say March 2024 puts, I do not care for 8 points. I don't care if I get a SPY fill at 225 versus 228. Right? The 3 pennies are not gonna, or dollars are not really gonna hurt on a hold for me. So that's at least how I look at it. I would just keep this, for yourselves, guys. I would keep this level here, right? This is your top to bottom, and it tells you a lot, right? Reclaim this, go here. Reclaim that, go here. And now, CK, you can potentially see where the things get a little gravy, in terms of sellers, right? We get inside this value area, right? Is there a chance that they can push this all the way to the top? Yeah, of course, because then you get these, hey, they're on all-time high people. But also, right, from perspective of POC, this is where the sell-off POC happened, 515. You see how we went under, came back, and there. So the value area here, I think that's what you said, about 70, 44, 87 or something like that. Your
Yeah,
level?
there is like a lot of stuff there, 30-minute
Yeah.
imbalance and
Oh,
whatnot.
there's so much here, right? There's a bunch of crap here, and the more confluences you get, is not a bad. It's not a bad entry point, but it's not a. I wouldn't go 87 full position. Maybe grab some, come here, add a little bit more. At least that's how I would play it.
Thank you.
And you see some volume here picking up on selling, the buying. And now there's some absorption here, as expected. I mean, I don't think I was not clear on 43.50 level. I think I was pretty clear. 43.50 was the target. So let's see what they do. I mean, it's important. Do we continue down or are we going to bounce? So any questions on ES? I think I think what we covered today is a good model for you to pretty much apply to anything you trade, whether it's SPY, Qs, or whatever, right? At least you have an idea, right? So if we lose this level, SPY really has the magnet 410, sorry, not 4010, 410. Okay. All right, hit me with stocks, hit me with questions, anything you have. If you guys don't have any, that's great.
I was looking at Roku and
Can you talk a little
Alpha.
bit more about LVNs general?
Yeah, so in general, right, where LVNs occurs, that's where you will have an imbalance on the footprints, right? Because what happens on an imbalance is that you have a massive aggressive buyer or seller, right? So if you think about this one right here, right before the LVNs created, what happened? They accumulated right above it. And then from there, remember, market goes balance, imbalance, balance, imbalance, balance, imbalance, hence the LVN. LVNs usually mean an imbalance, meaning that there was an aggressive seller or buyer, right, that basically did not spend a lot of time there, right? On market profile, that's how the single prints and, the poor structures are created. Volume profiles, we call them skinny bellies or whatever you want to call them, LVNs. That's what this is. That means there was not a lot of participants in this area. And think about it. If there's not a lot of participants on a good at a certain price level, you as a seller, what are you going to do? If there's not a lot of buyers of your product at a level, what do you have to do? CK, what would you do?
If you're a seller, then keep holding your position.
Well, if you need to get rid of the, oh shit, somebody's missing.
It's me. Sorry.
If you're a seller of a good and you don't have buyers at your level, what do you do as a seller?
Lower your
You
price.
take your stuff off the market. So
Either you take it off the market, or if you're upside down, you take it off the market. If you're really upside down, and there's rules for hedge funds where they can't, for portfolio managers where they can't take a hit, like some people lose 90% and then go to God and pray that we recover. They can't do that, right? That at some point they have a sell threshold where they have to sell. And if they have to sell at that point, right, then they join the sellers. Or, if they have some cushion and they can move the sell side and wait for the level to basically bring the interest to them to sell, right, where the build tape comes, and then they drive the price to them and they're like, oh, okay, thank you. Then they sell from here. Or they just lower the price. If you have a lot of inventory, let's say your inventory price was, I'm just throwing shit out, 43.81, and nobody's buying it here. Well, I mean, maybe you could drop it to 44.20 and see if they buy there. Right? If you drop it, when you lower the price, you're looking for buyers to come in. When you increase the price, who comes in?
Sellers.
Sellers.
Sellers. And when you have an imbalance like this, that means there's not a lot of opportunity for people to see that, right? And hence the trend days usually are difficult for people to play because they still have that disbelief, oh, it's gonna reject here, it's gonna reject here, and they keep shorting in an uptrend, and then it never really happens. Like, I don't know if you guys, who was live Friday when I said I'm not playing this shit, because they can, remember I said there's liquidity on 72 on NQ on Friday, and I said they're most likely going for it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
what did they do?
Yep.
They said screw 72, let's go higher. And you look at the volume, if you go on the footprints on the candle, I even showed you guys a couple of times, the volume was the bid 5, ask side 10 on 15-minute candles. So what does that tell you? There's the sellers were where? They're much higher. They were not interested in selling there. So they removed their, their ask side. They were like, I mean, I don't want to sell here. The passive sellers moved up. And then you saw those crazy, I would say, short cover rallies. And, I remember when I went to a bus and I came back and we were like at 500 or whatever the level was on NQ. And I was like, what? Like they spiked it higher and they exploded. So sometimes that happen, they do that. And an LVN is just basically telling you not a lot of volume in this area, not a lot of liquidity in this area here at all. And if you're to find, a 2-hour candle here and you look at the volume of just this candle, let's see, you can see majority of the volume on this candle was where? On the upper portion here. So from here to here, they literally sold off this. Everything here was fluff, right? Not a lot of interested. And look where they drove it back to.
Mm-hmm.
Through the low LVN of that candle.
So from trading perspective, then if you are approaching an LVN from top, then in that case, your first instinct to be go long at the start of, or I would call it at the end of HVN from where LVN starts.
That's correct. That's usually a call, we mark them as gap protections. You guys probably have seen it on my
Yeah.
charts. I usually believe the first tap, the first, like I would say the virgin tap of that liquidity is not a bad long because they come in and they try to defend it. Because they know if they fail, what happens?
Go to the other one, like
Yeah,
other side.
They're going to go to the other liquidity, and most likely if they had a position there, it's going to get, probably stopped. So they throw in, the change or money they can to protect it. And if they can't, well, we basically we hit this. And then you look at this one here, right? This one's a little bit more aggressive. You go from here to here, and then you can do the same trick, right? This is just 2 hours. I'm just gonna go from this candle to this candle and look. And now, when you think about it, why did I say this level here is important? Look where it starts. See this? I'm just circling this point, but look, you hop over this 95. Is there anything here? Is there any volume here?
No.
Guys, 10 points gonna happen like literally maybe 1-2 candles in 1 minute and it's gonna be filled. But the key for them is to get in. Last time, I mean, I guess Friday, they attempted that to get in and look.
And they really tried here. I remember at that point, one tick higher, 96, the price was there for a couple of seconds, like not immediately returned. They tried
So
hard.
now they tested the supply and we just said, right, the first hit you can short or you can go long if it's right above the level. If it's happening on the top, you go long first. When you short, and look here, was it validated? I would say yeah. If you came to this level and we are aware of it, look, it tapped it. I mean, and it dumped pretty good, I guess, 16 points. But then if they come again, there's a high chance because now they saw pretty much how heavy that supply is. They explored it, they saw it, right? Oh man, there's an iceberg order sitting here. Don't go there. Or, hey, there's a high chance they took some supply from here. So if you look at footprints and you see, was it a finished auction on here or not? Right? That's the first thing that I would check. If it was an unfinished auction, what would that mean?
They're coming in.
Oh, they're
Going
coming
further.
for it. They're gonna come for it. They're gonna clear, and all they have to do is clear higher, and then they would trigger 05. I don't care how they trigger it. I just care that they trigger it. Right? So that's how I would think about it, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Any other questions on ES here? Okay. Any other tickers you guys? I mean, we only covered ES. So any tickers? So on Tesla, I know a lot of you guys are obsessed with Tesla. Oh, we have this. That's what we talked about last time. You guys remember this? I don't know if you guys recall this drawing, but it's been a while. So these are the levels I would, the bigger levels that we just identified. On Tesla, this is what I have, right? So I'm just gonna go on daily. So is there a potential for a bounce here? Yeah, they can definitely bounce it in this area. Ultimately, once they lose this, let's say 206-ish level, they're probably gonna be hitting this maybe puck. This is a longer time frame levels, right? I would expect that we're going to get a bounce here at this level. So if you grab this to the top here, all this crap here is fluff, is manipulation. They had an earnings here. I don't know, Dirty ME had a bet that he never paid. And then now you see that they entered the value area high. And most likely, very high odds that we're going to be heading to 168. I would say they can do whatever they want here. They're going to reject probably somewhere in this area, 216 or 222. And then they're going to go down. But this 222 CK, I think me and you watched this level for a while, somewhere around here, right? If you remember this.
Yeah.
Right before your vacation too. 222 is a fairly important level because this is shaping up to be one of my favorite setups, if you guys remember. Big supply. I would say if you think this is a great uprun here, something's off, right? There's not a lot of volume here. You see volume dying, all of it on the top. So they're selling here. If they're able to break below, look, fail, and come back to it, that's not a bad short to enter here and drive it all the way to this level, which is about 60 points on Tesla. Pretty good. So that's what I'm watching on Tesla. If they break 222 to the upside, most likely we're going to hit 250. Okay. If they come here, this is my initial short. I think we come here, we short. I think we could drive it to 168-ish or so. As long as market sentiment, we don't see Qs making huge volumes, whatnot, accordance to that, kind of like a breath of the market. Apple, so I saw somebody post a monthly flip on the Apple, and I couldn't believe it, but yeah. If you're looking at the monthly, this candle is not closed yet, guys. This candle can easily close about 183, right? It doesn't mean it will. I'm just saying it's not closed. You can't really count on that yet. On the weekly time frame, right? This was your SR flip, so they really had to hold this if you want to see upside. You guys know my level by now on Apple. If you don't, I'll remind you. Does anyone remember what I said about this volume node here on Apple? I said this is a make or break. They break this. Where are they going? 150s, 152, 150. So now they're holding this. Can they bounce this and go to like 177 and maybe the heart of this 180? Yeah, definitely. And that would be a really good short. Somewhere around here on Apple. Just remember, you're shorting one of the strongest stocks in the market when you're shorting Apple. You're not shorting like, you know, Snow or UPST, whatever the stocks are. If you're gonna short, you know, maybe this is not the best name to short, but if you're confident in your setup, then take a short, right? I'm short on Apple 160s, I believe, for December. So I'm still waiting, right? Once they lose this level, they're guaranteed 165. I'll probably make a couple 100% here and close it. They lose this, then they go here. So that's the idea. Any questions on this? We are in a bounce zone and we bounced where we had to bounce.
Can you look at joke of the century after this? Media.
Yeah, we can. You don't have to tell me the name. I got you. So just to give you an idea, their PE ratio is 222. So if you buy the stock, you have a very high chance of getting your money back. Being sarcasm, no, you don't have any chance of getting your money. And PayPal has the same margin, same earnings, and it's a 20 PE. So if you're gonna buy something, PayPal is much better product to buy than this right now, fundamentally. If you look here, right, is there something happening? Yeah, I think they're getting rid of the inventory, and you know they do these spikes to do what? To lure you in, where you're like, oh man, I missed this. I'm gonna buy on the bottom of this range. I give you a lot of examples where this happens, right? Does this one look pretty good? Big spike. Wow, we're going much higher. Big candle, and then thank you for buying. If you're not willing to buy it at 100, but you're willing to buy at 500, I don't know who can help you. Not me, though. I'm not that guy. So now watch this red level. I still think they can pump from here. Why? Because if they can pump here for 480, 500, what would that indicate to the, you know, to the bears? They're like, man, this stock's going crazy. What do? Man, I'm gonna switch long. Once they start switching long, what did the big boys do? Well, they will have exit liquidity, that they will have the ability to exit on your behalf. So just keep that in mind. I'm not interested nowhere here buying. If I know it sounds crazy, but somewhere around 160 and even on the bottom here about 100, I'd be interested in potentially buying this. But till it comes back to about 70, 80 level, like here, great buy 110. If I can catch a 65, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'll never own NVIDIA. And am I mad? No, I don't care. I missed it, and that's okay. I had AMD. Okay. So for me, you know, once they lose this level, obviously everybody's watching it. You know, they can dump from here. But if you just grab the consolidation of the top, this is your range that you're playing right now. So any break below 427, you can short it to 410. 17 points on the video, I would say you can make money on options, right? And then, you know, 398 will be a good bounce. And just identify these nodes here, and you'll see how well they work. So what are the odds that we're gonna go to the middle odd here, 440 on the video? Very high odds that we're gonna go there and fill this gap. But before that, CK, where do you expect a rejection?
Yep, right at the start of that LVN.
Exactly. So 440, they break this, then you know they're gonna hit 445. If you're playing options on tickers, this is a setup. You take this, high odds they're gonna run $5 on the video. And I would say probably more than that, probably $10. They're gonna hit this value area high. Would I go long here immediately at 440? Probably not. And I guess they have earnings. Oh, Wednesday. Yeah, I would not play any of this. If anything, I could see them pumping one more time because that CEO is a good pumper. I mean, he is really good. And if US was to block any sales to China, which I think will happen, man, they've had this story. If you guys research NVIDIA way back, I used to trade NVIDIA solely for a couple of years. CEO overpromised on earnings many times and underdelivered. When you guys go check the history, you'll see it. I wouldn't be shocked if, imagine if US stops the sales to China and CEO uses that as an excuse. Oh, we would have hit it if it wasn't for, a scapegoat of US government. I think I could see that headline shortly. Okay. Any other tickers?
So on this one, 469 is July POC, which should be a good position to short, I'm guessing.
This is August. 445 is POC. It's
469.
Yeah. This will be really good. But you just have to be careful. Once they reach this level here, it's best to do look above and fail instead of first tap, for me at least. Because once they have these crazy momentum, like, because we're in a blue sky breakout, right? When you remove everything, think about this. Look at it, for instance, monthly candles. There's no buyers at all here. You see this giant candle, you're moving up with less. Not a lot of selling either. So I think they're going to spike it one more time, and somebody bought like a bunch of calls for 600. I think they're going to kill the puts one more time.
Thank you.
So I don't like playing, exposing my money in something that's in the blue sky breakout, like this. Much better opportunities elsewhere, right? Microsoft, I guess it did, what we expected it to do. This 335 level was pretty strong, I would say. They came here, we had stopping volume, we dumped from here. Let's see. So now, this is the level where it had to bounce. And we came, I guess, I don't know if we tapped it or not. We came very, I would say, close to tapping that level for a bounce. Losing this 300 immediately goes about $12 down. And then ultimately, I think they'll hit this untested supply on the bottom right here, which is 242. So losing this really triggers them, the value area high, 288-ish, like some secret demand there on the bigger time frame monthlies. And then you look at here, I think they have a high chance once they lose. I mean, this shelf here, guys, just look at it. Do you really think this is a major buyers right here sitting? I doubt it. But let's see. If you're gonna mark something as a SR flip, wouldn't this be a really good one? So they created a double top, and now they can definitely bounce from here, right? And this is not, I would say it started off with aggressive selling, and then what happened? Faded away, right? So this becomes a decent level here for potential long. They're using this imbalance right here for a long. I think they're gonna bounce here the whole market, which lines up with ES so far, what we've seen. Tesla's at support, Apple's at support, Microsoft's at support. I can't count NVIDIA. What was the other one? Meta? I never traded. I hate Meta. Do I have to tell you why we bounced here, or is this plenty? So what happens if we lose this here? You lose this, you go 238, you lose that, 185, and then you lose this and you're done. You go 115. This happens relatively quickly. So you have big boys at support. So I'll be very, very cautious being for a moment, maybe for a couple of days, short biased at the moment. And let's see, what do we have? August 21st. Fed speakers, existing home sales, bunch of Fed. This will be interesting data to see. When did they announce inventory? Ooh, what is this? Jackson Hole? Anyone know? Is this the meeting? Could be the meeting. Anyone know? Or
I do not know.
Wait, are you talking about the FOMC meeting?
well, it's in Jackson Hole this time, right?
I thought that was in September though. Like,
That's what I'm. But look, it says Jackson Hole.
It's
Last
Jackson Hole
time.
this time.
Oh, last time we were at Jackson Hole, I don't think the market likes the outcome. I don't know if you guys recall that. You guys remember that? Jackson Hole.
Yeah, August 22nd something,
Yeah, dude, it
26th.
went down. A lot of news this week, guys. Yeah, Powell speaks on the 25th. That's a Friday. Oh, man, this week is stacked with news. Okay. Any other tickers you guys need? Doesn't have to be a trading ticker that I trade or whatnot. Any ticker you guys use.
UNG.
Still long. So look at the sell-off here on a weekly. A lot of buying. The daily looks like a. I don't even know what do you make out of this. Bullish volume anomaly. A lot of buying happening here. Somebody sold off here. So it's creating a nice range for a very long time now. You're talking about March to now, we're in a range. We're below the POC, right? So, I mean, if it comes to 650, I'd probably add more. 650, 640, anything in this 6 range, I'll add. If you can even trade between 6 to 8, $2 on a $6 stock, you can take that. But I'm in it for, I would say I'm in it for a bigger run. That makes sense. I wanna catch when this explodes. And unfortunately, if it comes out the way I think it would be some kind of major war or some kind of issues with some of the countries that we depend on some of. Okay. I don't know. What is that your question? I don't look at this in short term. This moves like a snail. I don't look at it in small picture at all.
No, the question I had in mind was, which you kind of partly covered, that this is currently accumulating and the volume is huge as compared to previous last
Oh
probably
yeah.
10 years or more. So which means it is preparing for a move. I was just not sure if that move, in your opinion, is kind of over looking at the volume or still.
No, not yet. I think we haven't even started the move up yet. No, like if you look at
No, as
this.
an accumulation move.
No, they're gonna accumulate this for. I think Q4 we get a move on this, like a move that we might be potentially looking for. Once we break 920, like this level here, that would be the high of this. I mean, stopping volume on this. Let's go back to 2008. Look at this volume here. I'm just on the monthly, and it's pretty good. And you look at this right here. Look at this candle, 3-month candle, 6-month candle. A lot of selling. Let's see what happens. I'll still add it. If it hits 650, I'll add. I don't see natural gas going anywhere unless somehow we convert everything to solar and we never have fires like Hawaii. I don't see it going in.
Okay.
All right, well, that's it for me. Unless you guys have more, I'm gonna go eat breakfast, break my fast, and I'll post my plan under Shorty's Corner. Added 2 more videos to PowerPoint. We'll probably schedule a class for all the new folks that recently joined. Sometimes, well, let's see, this is August. First, maybe September 2nd, we'll do a class that covers that, and added 2 more videos actually on swinging with volume profile, so that should help some of you guys that don't have a lot of screen time during the day-to-day. Some footprint videos as well. See if it kind of helps trigger some of you guys that are borderline, from loss to profitable consistency. Okay.
Good
All right.
Sunday. Take care.
All right.
Thank you, Shorty.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Shorty. Have a good day, everyone.